Stephen A. Smith. You know, how old is this story? About 2 weeks. But we're finally actually getting him being able to sit down on podcasts. He went to Gilbert Arenas. He went to his own thing that he be doing at night. But talking about the LeBron controversy. So if you don't know, one time at a Lakers game, I think it was the Lakers playing the Mavericks. Stephen A. Smith had to be in attendance. It's a big game. You know, there's a lot of coverage on that. And LeBron chose this as his opportunity to come up and really be a father. Like, you know,
I'm pulling up on you, nigga.
You talking about my son? I don't really like that. This between us. Keep this between us. Woo. And apparently, like Stephen A. was like, huh? What'd you say? And then like LeBron walked off, so he couldn't really defend himself or whatever. But now he has the opportunity.
It was Lakers Knicks. That's what I thought.
Lakers Knicks. Okay, yeah, you're right. Yeah. You're right, because fucking somebody else was playing. Yeah. But he finally had his chance to come and tell his side of the story, and this is Gilbert Arenas where he's doing it. Run this shit long.
What do you make of LeBron confronting you in the aftermath of that situation?
I thought it was weak. I thought it was some bullshit. But in the moment, I knew that I was listening to a father. Here's what happened. I'm represented by William Morris Endeavor. The founder of William Morris Endeavor, Ari Emanuel, had courtside seats right next to the Lakers bench. He had Larry David with him, star of Curb Your Enthusiasm. I'm sitting with them. I get there in the first quarter.
Powerful weights.
I'm sitting courtside, and I stand up, and then I got my head turned. And then I turned back around, and a lot of people thought this was the end of the game or something like that. This was in the third quarter. Apparently, LeBron had walked out of the timeout, and I turned around, and he's right here in my face. He said, yo, you got to stop talking shit about my son. You got to stop fucking with my son. That's my son. That's my son. And I was like, what? He said, nah, fuck that. I said, yo, let's talk later. He's like, fuck that. Nah, fuck that. You got to stop fucking with my son. And I said, all right, though. And he walked off. So I remember during the timeout in the first quarter, seeing Bronny. And Bronny looked over at me, and he had this sad look on his face. And I'm imagining Pop saw that shit, it hit him. And he couldn't hold it, and he rolled up on me. And so when I went on the air the next morning, first thing first, believe it or not, I know this is shocking for people to believe, but I didn't have any intentions on talking about it until I woke up that morning and saw that the shit had gone viral. Once the shit had gone viral, the bosses at ESPN, now you got to talk about it. This is you and him. You got to talk about it. I said, fine. So I go on the air and I said, the first thing that I'm going to do is establish that this was a father talking to me, not a player. And that was what threw me off. And I was glad, even though I thought that he misrepresented the argument, I was glad he did. Because you see, what he was really talking about, which was confirmed with his conversation with Richard Jefferson, is that I was talking about him as a father. And so what happens is that had he said that to me, then I wouldn't have been thrown off. I'd have came right back at him. Yes, I was. I was talking about you.
So yeah, this just goes along. Like LeBron and Stephen A. are the two big buzz names in it, so it makes the story about them. It's just about media and the NBA specifically overall. They have a weird relationship.
Yeah.
And just the overall conversation of like, what is the line in media and who establishes when it's crossed? Because it's like on Stephen A's end, he's of the belief, and well, from what I've seen too, he's never taken it too far. Like anything he's ever said about Bronny or Bron has been about on the court. He didn't mention like Bronny's white girlfriend at Palm. Like he's not, and there's not little subtle jabs that underlie it. So it's like, Bron, what you really upset about?
Well, LeBron's other girlfriends.
Because at a certain
what do you
point,
make of LeBron?
William Morris.
At a certain point, it's like I get that this is your son that's being discussed, but nigga, everybody in the NBA got a dad.
Yeah, and we talked about it a little bit like a couple weeks ago, and it was just like LeBron doesn't respect his son. Like when LeBron was younger, he never pressed anybody like this. He was still mad probably, but he didn't take it to this extent of pressing niggas courtside, you know, just really making a scene. And it just showed his ego. And it's funny because I saw Dwight Howard and Mario Chalmers. I think they were on the pivot talking about just LeBron James.
His ego.
And I believe Dwight Howard, I don't know if it was a joke, but Mario Chalmers was like, yep. Dwight Howard was like, yeah, man, the reason I got kicked off the team was because I told LeBron to like stop being a bitch on defense. To get back on defense. He was like, after that, it was never the same. He was like, nigga, I got traded because of that. And Mario Chalmers, you know, he concurred that statement saying that that same sentiment, that same situation,
where it's
just like you're trying to really control like an ego monster.
You're trying to control, but the only difference I would say in this case it's his ego, but it comes from a good place. Because like LeBron, since that nigga was like probably 16, has been talked about in the media, good and bad. And
literally,
he didn't have a LeBron as a father to help him through
to
that.
defend him,
because that shit had to been stressful as fuck. Like you got all these expectations on you as grown adults talking shit about you and like your professionalism, all that. So I think that he's seeing his son go through it, and he just wants to be the guy that should have been there for him. So I understand where it's coming from, but like that don't make it right. It don't make it right.
Because even Ryan Clark, I think, was saying like one of them niggas was talking about their son, and they were like, "Yo, if that was me doing it to my son would have been tight." He said his son told him after he saw that shit, was like, "Dad, I'd be tight if you did that shit. Like, let me handle mine as a man. Like, I'm a young man coming up. Let me handle mine. You know what I'm saying? Like, I get what you doing, but I'm in the NBA, nigga. Let me handle mine. Like, let me find my way, nigga."
I think it was perfect. I think it was perfect timing and everything
for LeBron to do that.
For LeBron to do that, because just like he said, I'm around powerful, rich white folks. I'm going to treat you like a nigga in front of these powerful, rich white folks on the day they announce you got $100 million deal signed. I'm crashing this entire parade.
I think it more.
And I'm doing it in the middle of the game to where I'm not forced to stick around. The timeout's over. I got to go back.
It was all that, because I think it had more so to do with LeBron's confidence and how good the Lakers was looking at the time. Like they had a lot of.
Oh, they were up.
Yeah. It wasn't. I forgot like what their exact record was, but like him and Luka had started hooping, and
they were doing great.
Good.
They were the second seed.
Shannon Sharp went on ESPN and was like, "Nigga, we got a chance."
Yeah,
it was a lot of that talk going on. So LeBron, he definitely chose the perfect moment to get that shit off. But the NBA and the media don't understand each other. They hate each other.
We can say that about the media and the rappers and the musicians. It's the same problem.
We can say that about
media
critiques.
and all people
that
like, you know what I'm saying?
Nobody likes to be critiqued for the most part.
No, people despise it.
So, and it's like I guess there's supposed to be a certain just a little bit of animosity towards each other, but it should should never get to a point that, like you said, I think Stephen A hits. You know what I mean? I don't think he ever gets that disrespectful. It should never hit the point that LeBron thinks Stephen A, hit in terms of like level of
hit, like
just
physically
being like in terms of being disrespectful and like what he said towards his son. Like, because we did the research on LOY, we didn't find anything that Stephen A said.
He's never said anything personal,
like never too disparaging.
It's just about the game.
It's always about how LeBron put his son on a pedestal just to be knocked off. It was a pedestal made of Legos.
I was watching Draymond talk about it, and because he brought it up just the other day about why he ended up like distancing himself, because Stephen A brought up Draymond and that whole shit from Stephen A.
Okay,
how Draymond distanced himself from Stephen A. Because of he said it was you're telling dad you were telling him how to be a father. It wasn't the aspect of the basketball game. He was like saying, as a dad, that's a bad move.
And he just doubled down on it too.
And he doubled down on that.
Just now on Gilbert Arenas.
Yeah, it was like that was the thing. When I heard that perspective, I was like, okay, that's a little more fair. I didn't hear it that directly first time. That's a little more fair. But
what did he tell him how to be a father?
He was just like, as a dad, you don't do this. And then they were like, nigga, like, as a dad, what do you mean? That's not basketball now. Like, we're not talking about basketball anymore.
Right.
So that's what they were trying to say.
What did he say as a dad? Like, what was the statement?
The whole Bronny thing, like setting him up for all the eyes and all
setting him up for eyes and failure.
And like setting him up for failure and shit like that. Like,
or setting him up for a position that he's not ready for.
Yeah, like a type of position.
Nobody said anything when he said a similar thing to LeVar Ball, who also put a lot of unrealistic expectation on his NBA.
He didn't say. Did he say anything about a dad? I think he championed him as a good father. I think.
Well, after, but you got to understand, like when LeVar first hit and he was going on ESPN saying I could beat Michael Jordan 1-on-1. Like everybody treated him like a crazy person.
But who did LeVar,
that was a joke too. Everybody treated him like a joke.
But who did LeVar not get? Who did he not check that said something about his parenting skills? I feel like he's checked everybody.
I don't think anybody said anything about his parenting skills.
Yeah, nobody said anything necessarily about LeVar's parenting skills.
I feel like
the conversation.
I feel like he's checked all of them.
The conversation would be like, you're a father that's setting your kid up to get targeted.
Yeah, and regardless of whether they said anything about LeVar, you're saying that?
No, I'm saying Stephen A said this to LeVar, and it's not necessarily about his parenting, but it is around his parenting. And I think it's a similar sentiment what he's saying to Bron right now.
It is. He just doubled down.
But that's the problem. That's
that-
what
that- that is
I
the
don't think
issue.
that that's.
And which angle
I
did
don't
LeVar
think that
take?
that's that personally bad.
As the
But
father
to
of
be
your
fair,
child, you
we're
can take
also
that.
not fathers.
Yeah.
None of us in this room.
As the
are
father of your
fathers.
child, I can see that perspective.
We
Where it's
are-
like, don't tell me how to father my child.
But I could see that for
Like,
sure.
you don't even know this
Yeah, I
nigga.
could
Like
see
you don't
that
even
for
know
sure.
what makes him tick like I do. You don't know none of this shit. Like don't tell me how to father my
but
son.
you wouldn't stop and think why he's saying that.
What do you mean? No, it's my
A
son.
nigga you
wouldn't
don't
try to
know.
be a little
a
reasonable?
nigga you don't know
No.
just out of the blue with a big voice says he's not
it-
raising his son right.
I'm not thinking about
He
that.
didn't say that.
He didn't tell
That's
you.
completely different because
No,
that
it is
has a
completely
lot
different.
more disrespect on
But
it.
that's
It
what he
is,
heard.
But that's what everything that. But when
That's what
you're
it
the
centered
father,
around.
you hearing the disrespect.
Well, if
like-
you are, if
You got to
respond
stop and be a
emotionally
little.
to it.
You got to be
If
a
you
little
respond
reasonable.
emotionally to it, yeah.
But do you think?
I don't think it's you respond emotionally to it. The fact that you're commenting on my parenting skills. Period.
Yeah.
we have crossed into disrespect.
So that's
It's
the
not
boundary.
about, but it's not about
Yeah.
how he raised Bronny.
no longer
It has
basketball.
no-
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with his parenting skills. It has,
But that's
it
what
has
he
something
said,
to do.
That
with,
is what he said though.
No, he is a parent, but it has
But-
to do with his decision making skills on
His
where he
parenting
chose
skills.
to lead Bronny in terms of like his career.
Right, which is his parenting skills.
But it's not like he's a bad parent. He's actually
Yeah, it's not about how he raised Bronny. It's about
he didn't frame it that way. He said he's not doing this correctly.
Because he could do the same thing with a new rookie teammate. He could have put the same hype on that nigga, and it could be the same conversation of like, dog, why are you doing that today?
I think this was the clip again. Like we can try and hear what he said again.
You can
I
run-
think this was it.
Yeah.
I'm really,
watch it be.
really trying to be as respectful as I possibly can be towards LeBron James.
which means we're already
I
at
am
disrespect.
pleading
not no.
with LeBron
Let's
James
keep listening.
as a father. Stop this. Stop this. We all know that Bronny James is in the NBA because of his dad. The first game of the season, opening night, the Griffey's in attendance, father-son duo playing in an NBA game for first time, an absolutely positively wonderful story. And then reality sets in. We love what we're seeing from him in the G League because that's where you belong. As you hone your skills and you get better and you legitimately earn, which I believe he has the potential to do, I am rooting for Bronny James. It would be cruel to root against him. It's a wonderful kid. I wish him nothing but the best. But he's LeBron James' son. And everybody knows what attention that brings. Molly, Doggy, put them up on the screen because I want to see their face when I say this. Right now, Bronny James is averaging 0.3 points, 0.3 assists, and 0.4 rebounds. You know what people are saying. You know what they're going to do to this kid. You know what these numbers mean.
His face
You
is crazy.
know what it's going to do to your son, to people who are missing out on opportunities, that are busting their tail on other NBA teams in the G League, in Europe, and everywhere else, what kind of opportunity they're starving for. You're exposing your son like this? I'm not trying to be disrespectful in any way. I'm simply saying to have that moment on game one of the NBA season is one thing. To propel it to a point where he's on the bench, he's in uniform, he's taking up a roster spot, and now you're giving him time in the first quarter, and you see the absence of production. How are you helping him?
This isn't bad.
I just don't get
He never came
This
at them
isn't
like
bad.
that, dog.
At the
LeBron owes Stephen A an apology. And a thank you.
And a bouquet of
Because
flowers,
You gotta
nigga.
understand what's happening now is like some emperor's new dress or whatever the fuck it's
I
called.
think he should smack that.
Because if you can't
No,
be
because
honest,
you gotta understand that like he's asking everybody to like accept his imaginary friends. He wants us to be a part of his schizophrenia and just ignore the fact that this is all just a charade, dog. This is all a marketing, not
Yeah.
all a marketing
Talking
employee.
about LeBron wants to ignore all that.
LeBron and Bronny being on the Lakers.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
this is just he
It just looks good. It sells great.
and it's not real.
Yeah.
And he's
Yeah.
asking everybody to act like it's real. And they're actually
It's
trying.
like the show
because
business
he's trying
in
to
sports.
sell a story, which is
Yeah.
it's a great story
It's the
if he
show
was just
business in
naturally gonna be as good as LeBron said.
Because
you know what I mean?
The end of this should have been this is bullshit. And like that's what every reporter should say because that's what it is.
Yeah.
But they're actually taking it serious and niggas still have the nerve to be upset about it. Now, I think a lot of times what happens is like the biggest voice in media takes on all the worst takes. So it's like, it's shit that Stephen A didn't even do that he's taking shots for because he is media and he's the bigger person in media. But there's a bunch of niggas who probably said actual foul shit.
Oh, yeah.
That he's really upset about.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, dog,
YouTubers with 3,000 views.
the commenters on these media shits are who really be hurting niggas' feelings.
Yeah.
For sure.
Like
It's the
people,
flurry.
there are journalists who report things and put it out, but it's the niggas that go in the comments and really
Yeah.
start roasting you to where it's like, now my feelings are hurt.
Where
Yeah.
it's vile, yeah.
Yeah.
But they just put all of that in one basket. Media sucks.
Yeah.
That's true. To an extent.
But
I'm pleading with you as a father. Why would you expose your son to this?
That's not what he said. He said your son's
He
getting
said that.
exposed.
Yeah.
No, not why would you expose your son to this? Your son's getting exposed.
Which, once I hear you're pleading to me as a father, you're commenting on my parenting skills. And I
he
don't
also
give a
said
fuck.
respectfully. But the reason why he said that.
And when I say no disrespect, disrespect is coming.
The reason why he has to say that because it's like he has a son, so he
Why would he have to say that, though?
He understands what it's like to want greatness for his son, and he's imagining himself in LeBron's situation. Like my son can play. Like yeah, of course you're gonna think highly of your son. You're the king.
That's more
This is my
disrespectful.
seed. But
And you-
also it's like that's just. It's just not like real. Like LeBron's just kind of crazy.
And you can't have your cake and eat it too. Like, is he your teammate or is he your son? So like, can I call you his father? Are you like what is?
He doesn't respect Bronny as like he love him as a son, but he don't respect him as a man.
What you talking about, LeBron?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know about that.
I think
he's picking fights for him.
We're the
if
media.
your father, if you was in a situation and your father stepped into it, something that you could handle, you knew you could handle, and your
this is
father
your-
stepped into it,
Yeah.
would you feel like a certain type
I
of
would feel a certain type of way.
It's a little
just
different.
just a little bit?
I will say, yeah, maybe a little bit, but
And
I would also say it's different because Bronny stepped into his father's world where he's the king of this world. So my father checking shit where I'm the king of this world doesn't seem weird. But if Bronny had a bully at school and LeBron James like walked him to the bus stop and got on the bus and talked to the kid, yeah, that's a little
No,
bit different.
That's better.
Yeah,
That's actual parent. Like that's like some real father shit. Because I'm assuming you mean like a little
no, actual
Bronny.
parenting is telling Bronny and what's another nigga's base? Bryce.
yeah.
Whoop that nigga's ass first thing you see him tomorrow.
Which is why
Rich kids
Which
don't
is why
fight.
he doesn't respect him as a man because he tried to defend him during the fucking third quarter. You get what I mean? When Stephen A said he was just looking over there,
This is
Saunder.
getting disrespectful saying that LeBron doesn't respect his son.
He woke.
I didn't.
I said
That's what he's saying.
he walked up.
that feels disrespectful.
Hey,
More disrespectful than what Stephen A said.
I understand why you're saying that.
I'm
Yeah,
only,
yeah.
But hey, I'm only pulling from other media heads. Stephen A said he
Pull
was
from yourself.
He said he was over there. I mean, okay. He said he was over there looking sad. Why are you over there looking sad? Your father defended you. Why have your head down? Stephen A said that.
Well, that was before he
That was
defended him.
before he came over.
Yeah, I think he
Yeah.
said that LeBron
saw
That was
he saw
before it
that.
happened.
Bronny
was
saw
before,
Stephen
yeah.
A. scowled, and then LeBron saw that and was like, "Dad mode."
He thinks that's what did it to him.
Right.
Yeah,
Even
but
then-
I do understand the angle on LeBron's side now, especially after hearing Draymond say it, because as a media person, they always take stances that almost toe the line, but then use semantics. I won't say semantics, but use certain things to be like, hey, I was specifically talking about this. I'm only talking about basketball. So if you always say, I'm only talking about basketball, anything you say outside of the line of basketball, as an
a father.
athlete or as a
Yes.
father, anything, I should be able to say, you can only talk about basketball. I don't care what you meant, where you're going in. Don't
Didn't
bring
he
this side
only
of it
talk
in.
about
100% fair. Now, where did he not talk about basketball?
He said, "As a father, I'm
As a
pleading with you."
father.
That's enough. To set up my whole premise that way, like that's enough. That's enough for me to say, "All right, you're taking it off the beaten path."
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's enough.
Yes.
Because it's like I'm about to go this way. I'm gonna go here. This is what I'm leading in with, and then let me start talking about the shit I want to talk about. Like,
No,
But what
as
did
a
he
father,
start talking about after you said
No,
that?
Lauren, you don't understand communication. What that is, he's leveling with him. He's putting himself.
But what are you
on
doing
the-
that as
he's-
basketball? That's not basketball
No, he's
no more.
putting
When you-
himself
when you
on the
plead-
same level
Yeah.
as another individual.
Right.
So if the person
not in the
hears
context
it,
of basketball.
hold on, communication master. So if the person hears it, he can listen with like open ears.
Listen though,
You know
he's
what I
putting
mean?
himself on the same level as a father. I'm a father too. As a father, I'm pleading with you. Like it's like, what are we talking about? We're not talking about the game. Don't plead with me about shit. You don't know my life. You
He
don't
only
want something.
talking about the game,
I'm
Lauren.
just saying. Look,
Okay.
I understand. I'm
think-
saying that I see where from the side of the person being talked about,
Okay.
I see where that can come off as disrespect and me not fuck with you now because of the way you're intervening in my family dynamic when you really should just be talking about sports.
Okay.
So you shouldn't.
You know what I'm
You
saying?
shouldn't
Wait,
call
hold on.
him Bronny's father. You should just say your teammate.
That's not that.
You should
That's
refer
not
to.
that.
You should forget that they're
He
family.
didn't say that's Bronny's father. You said, hey, as a
Do
father,
you know
I'm
what it
pleading with you
means
about
to,
this.
No, don't say pity. Do you know
I
what it
didn't say
means to
pity.
plead with somebody?
Yeah.
You get on your knees.
So why are we acting like that's? Why are we acting like there's underhand disrespect?
Because why are you pleading with me as a
Why are you-
father about
yeah.
Why are you doing that?
And
Why?
all we're talking
Why?
is sports.
Yeah, why are you doing that?
Why
There's no-
not?
there's no-
Your
there's
son's
no-
on your
just-
team.
If you're gonna talk shit about
You
the game,
brought your son to the Lakers.
okay, then just say, look, you
Y'all
shouldn't
didn't stop being related when y'all became
But
teammates.
then why is that the narrative instead of just saying this nigga shouldn't be on the team?
Because
Just say
you
that.
pressed me and you came up to me and said, "I'm a father."
You said
That's
that
my
before,
son.
though. That's after.
That was also LeBron's whole
That's after.
point of having Bronny on the team is like he's my son and he's also great.
Right.
Like,
So if he's not good, then just say he's not good. Then like don't
Right.
Let's just say he's not good. It's okay to
Right,
just talk
that's
shit
it.
about him as
But
basketball.
Literally shit
That's
on his
that.
numbers.
Hold on, but before Bronny was in the league, and you know we're gonna get through this eventually. But before Bronny was in the league, he was building up. He was building him up to be that guy.
No, he was.
said
like
Mike,
way before he was in the
said
league.
he was better than some of these niggas
But here's
I'm
the-
watching on League Pass right now.
Which is Luka,
Everybody on League Pass got a
JT.
roster
Can I say
spot.
something? I agree. I agree with the fact that like even last episode when we talked about it, I was more along the stance of like LeBron did that in the wrong moment to me. I don't think it was necessary to do that in that
You
moment.
did say that?
I still think that. But I do see the perspective now from where that could be not basketball. You know what I'm saying?
respect that.
That's what I'm saying. So
But-
like I understand that perspective. I
ask you
do
something.
also agree that LeBron did too much in what he was talking about Bronny beforehand.
Can I ask you
and
something?
set him up for the okie doke. You know what I'm saying?
would
I do believe that.
do? I understand that you respect like how LeBron got to that point.
Yeah,
but
I just
what
think it
would-
was a
like
What would I
What
do?
would you do if you made these mistakes? Because
Yeah.
Lauren, I don't think
I wouldn't have done
I
that.
don't think that you would have
wouldn't
did
have
that
done
to
that.
your son. I
I
don't think
wouldn't-
you would have did what Bron did.
No,
Not in
I wouldn't
terms of
have.
He wouldn't be there,
defending
but
him,
we're saying
In
what
that
would
way.
you
terms
do
of
if we were
hyping
there
him up
already?
to that level.
If I was LeBron, I would not have approached in the third quarter to do that. I'd
in
have had a
that
conversation
way.
separate. Yeah, I'd have done that. That's
Which
different.
is really we didn't.
I wouldn't
we
have done that
getting
way.
into it
No,
now.
I would. It would depend.
We're
How
avoiding
deep it
because
should be.
that is
I
optics.
also know you just signed $100 million and you with these powerful.
I
white
get it.
men.
I get the dynamic.
I might want to treat you like a
Yeah.
nigga in front of them.
And what did those powerful
You know
white
what I'm saying?
men?
Like
get
in
it.
terms of.
And
But
what
that
did
could
those
bounce
powerful
back.
white men do?
Davis.
They told him to
Smart.
talk about it the next morning.
Yeah, yeah.
It was like, nigga, you have
As
to
I say,
talk
it might
about
bounce
this.
back a little bit. It might not. It doesn't necessarily. Not necessarily a power play because it's too out
Welcome
of your
to the big
character.
leagues,
Do
nigga.
It's
y'all
too out of
think
Bron
dynamic.
this is stupid.
Do y'all think Stephen A is going to get more ignorant than what he has been in terms of y'all eyes because of this like money?
More ignorant, no,
Like
I don't
more-
think so. Like now that he signed $100 million, you
Yeah,
think
like
he'll be out
you-
of control.
Yeah, just
I don't think so.
Wild boy.
I'm pretty sure it'll be the same.
Yeah, it's gonna be the same.
Yeah, I don't see it. He's had money for it. He ain't been broke. This is just a big
Yeah,
moment.
it's just
A
Yeah.
new big one, but it's
Yeah.
not his first big one.
Yeah, this ain't his first big
He's
one.
on
It's
private
just-
jets now.
It's just the biggest that he's had.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sure he's had headlines that were signed to 40, 30. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it ain't his first time.
and he deserves it.
Now your first 20 or 30, yeah, niggas might. That's when we can probably expect the most change from them. Their first couple million.
Damn, can you imagine just
That's
spending
probably the
like
first change.
a crazy amount of money on like 1 week, like a crazy amount, and just realize it didn't really dent shit,
Yeah.
and be like, God damn.
But I think that's what rich niggas say. They say like once you
I'll buy
pass
some
20
Jason
million,
Tatum
it's like
shoes if I had
the
that much
lifestyle
money.
you're living at 20 million is not too much different from the 100 million nigga.
right.
Yeah.
It's like you can do essentially
They just
everything.
have two more of what you have.
Yeah, maybe two more of what you had. They can do it more often. You know
Right,
what I'm
right,
saying?
right,
but
right.
like, yeah, you can do all the same things that these niggas are doing.
Yeah.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
or you might not own it. Like you might not own the yacht, but you can rent the
fuck
yacht.
it. You can die
but,
anyway.
But you can rent the yacht out for 4 months and not feel like you took an L on it.
Exactly.
So,
Which is the same thing if you're rich.
which is the same thing because you're only riding it 4 times a year anyway,
Fuck
or
it.
for a month out of the year anyway. So
Go to Catalina in my
Yeah, I
boat.
just need to have enough to where if I have an HVAC problem and I drop 10 bands, it don't feel like shit.
nothing.
Yeah.
Just a little, just a little electrical issue.
You know what I'm saying? That's it.
I want to add an extra house attached to my house. I saw that when I was working one day.
Oh, they
This
got a lot of
motherfucker was
those.
getting, he cut his house in half and like redesigned
back
it.
door, yeah.
I was like, what the fuck?
So it had a whole hits had its own entrance and everything,
Yeah,
right?
nah.
Yeah.
They got bored.
Niggas do be doing that or building little mini houses in the backyard and renting
Yeah.
them out and having
yeah.
them the
Airbnbs
one half
and shit.
addresses.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I
that's
told
what
you
that
about,
is.
yeah, Valentine's Day story.
I wish I don't know who do we think is gonna have kids first out of the group here so that we can revisit this. later. Might be a couple years, but we'll bring this back.
Nobles.
When niggas have kids, probably
Nah,
Nobles.
it's gonna be Lauren. Lauren is the most set up for that.
But he's young. I think the slip up might happen.
Slip up, yeah.
Nah.
My slip up days are over.
It's
planned.
That's the thing. I rarely slip up, and when I do, it's like it doesn't even. Come on,
Pop
man.
a pill.
Come on, man. Nigga, I'ma always have $60.
$60.
Here you go, bitch.
Around.
Pow. Love you. But nah, I think honestly, Lauren, AJ possibly, but I think when AJ finds his girl, it's gonna happen faster. You know what I mean? It's like you're gonna.
Well, it'll be less time too.
Yeah,
Because Lauren was with his girl for longer.
Oh,
So yeah.
I think you will have like
As soon as I find her, boom, baby, cooking
a year and a half.
Cooking.
Because you've been a party boy for so long.
I've done it all.
You know how to.
I know when
differentiate.
Caught everything.
I've caught everything I can catch.
Hands are full.
Oh my goodness.
All right, shit. Actually, that does kind of like lead into